Hey visionaries, Chris right here with Royal Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty. Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process, but we are here to help you throughout the way. Feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms at Royal Realty Group TX. Now enjoy the show with Cuff and Mo.
Now we're going to teach as we climb. So like as we climbing, as we growing, as we learning, we're going to teach this information. So we were about creating content in different forms. So we had video, we had our infographics. There were ways that we could put out digestible content in a like information in a way that people could digest it easily and save it for later to consume. And those were one of the biggest things that we could share, right? Because it's great to have video. And people love video, but if you got something that somebody can send, they can save, put it in a folder, and they can easily reference this and get the steps. Like 1, 2, 3, this is what I need to do.
Listicle type information.
A lot of that stuff was some of the most highly shared information. That just and variations.
This isn't you talking. This is somebody else.
So a lot of the content was information that we learned, and then
put it in
repackaged and put it into a different format.
Another thing, like even before we launched the podcast, right? Like we were highlighting celebrities in different lights that people weren't used to seeing them, right? One of the videos I remember, Kanye was talking about, you ain't got the answers, Sway and everything. Like, we all know that Kanye, he goes on these rants, but somehow he always ties it back into some stuff. We went through, we chopped up that content, we pulled out all the bullshit where it was just like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? But we made it cohesive to where you can understand the point that he was really trying to get across, and we meshed that together. And then that was like a really big clip for us early on. They're like, oh shit, we finally fucking understand what this nigga was saying. And like, that was before, Yeezy, he even became like a billionaire and all of that. Like, we took that type of content and we showed the celebrities in different lights, and people was like, oh, y'all giving us different layers to people now. Mm-hmm. So that was another reason why they was following us. We would take celebrities, we'd take some of their video content, it would just kind of, chop up the stuff and really show them, okay, this is how Rick Ross bought the 50 Wingstops and all the checkers and all of that shit. Just taking that type of content and putting it in a different light.
To build on what Jalen saying, like what it was creating a different point of view. So like our brand wasn't just focused on the content we were creating. We were focusing on creating a point of view, a perspective. What is the Black Wealth Renaissance? This is the Black Wealth Renaissance. You may know this person as the rapper who raps about shooting, killing, drug dealing, but we talking about what they doing in real life, how they acquiring these properties. We're going to go back and give you actual game that you can apply to your situation. So you want to buy a first home. Most of us don't know what the process look like. We start talking about the different loan products that are out there, and we put it in a way that's digestible that we can easily understand, talking in our language. Because as y'all know, we have our own lingo. We have our own way about doing things. So that was really one of the bigger things too, was just like the focus wasn't so much just on our content. It was on how can we create this perspective that speaks to our people.
Welcome back to the TheVisionLab podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The TheVisionLab is the official growth mindset podcast for all visionaries worldwide. We're showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually come into reality. Yo, we got a banger today. Mo, shout out to you for making this happen. Who we got on the show today?
Today's guests are both natives of Opelousas, Louisiana. They are businessmen, entrepreneurs, all those other like. Most importantly, they are the host of the recently, I guess, can we say acquired? Is that a good word?
We could go with acquired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Host of the new show on Revolt TV, Jalen and David of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast here on the VisionLab podcast.
Thank y'all brothers for having us.
Thank
What
y'all,
up?
thank
What
y'all,
up?
thank
What
y'all.
up, man?
First of all, congratulations, fellas.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
that.
bro.
Big ups, big ups.
So we gotta talk about social media, right? And right time, right place. So, we're all, you and I are both girl dads, and so I take my kid to daycare every morning. So sure enough, I'm dropping Zuri off, and out comes this guy named Damien. He is the husband of our family dentist. Okay. And so I go home.
That's how we get it.
I'm on Instagram. I think it was on a Tuesday because we had a post getting ready to come out, and I see Damien on their show, and I was like,
Okay, I remember this.
yes. I was like, Damien. He's like, what's up? Because we see our kids at the same daycare. We see each other like every day of the week. I said, Damien. I was like, I've been watching those dudes for a little bit. It's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I talk to them all the time. Like, I was like, Damien, like, he didn't know that we had a show. I was like, hey, we got a show. So we kind of talk about the same stuff. Like, man, like, get me connected or whatever. He's like, cool, no problem. Next day, text message. I talked to David, told him what it was, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. Like,
Let's do
so
it.
shout out to Damien. Like, it's just
Shout
right
out.
time, right place, man.
Big shout out to
Shout out
Damien
to
Jones.
Damien.
You and I talked about this on my way over here. I guess it was just last night. Shooting your shot. That's important. You guys been doing. How long has BWR been out?
So BWR started October 31st of 2018.
2018.
So it's
Going on
almost
4
our
years.
4-year anniversary.
Hey, shout out.
Appreciate that. So yeah, man, it really just started with a small nugget being planted, right? We were on our own personal financial journeys, own education journeys, and I was listening to a podcast actually. I was listening to the Todd Capital Millionaire podcast. Shout out to Charles.
Todd. Shout out Charles.
Spoke at the Black Men Summit. If you missed it, you played yourself. But yeah, I was listening to his podcast, and he had the guys from HBCU Wall Street on there, and they were just breaking down like what it takes to start a social media brand. And I'm like, man, this don't sound hard. I had dibbled and dabbled in stuff like this before in the past. Like, whenever my junior year of college, we had started getting into business and started trying to, find different legitimate ways to build a business. And I got turned on to influencer marketing then, where we were trying to build a drop shipping store. And one of the things that we were doing was to sell our clothes. We were finding different brands that we could use to promote our business. And I had the idea then, it's like, man, why should I pay somebody to promote this when I can build my own brand? So that was whenever I started the process of kind of learning. And I tried to do a football brand at first. I learned a lot in that process, where it was like I sat there and I learned how to create content on my own. I learned how to go through the process of finding stuff that people would like and engage with. And then from there, like, I kind of just abandoned it for like a year. My senior year of college, I didn't really do anything with it. But then whenever I heard that podcast, it kind of like reignited that seed, right? Like it started growing again. It's like, oh, man, I already know how to do this. We just got to do it for something that we're truly passionate about. And this was something that we were so passionate about because where we were in life, we had just graduated college. We had just learned about really a lot of information with financial literacy. I mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that we weren't taught. It was like I felt bamboozled. And I felt like, man, the only way we can do something to help the next man is to make sure it don't happen this way for him. So that's where the brand's idea started from. It's like, man, we're going to educate on financial literacy and speak directly to the black community, because I know it's another brother that looks like me that needs to know this stuff, that has no idea what's going on, and there's nobody to teach it to him in a way that he may understand it. I know I've always been like one of the academic types, but I know guys that have always explained stuff and helped people in school, and it's things that they may not have understood, I was able to break down in a way that they could. So with that, it was like, okay, let's just start the brand. I called my partner Jared up, and I was like, hey man, I was working on the ambulance at the time. I'm washing the ambulance, I'm listening to this podcast, I'm like, man, let's start. Let's just start it. Like, we've been talking, we've been like, yo, we're gonna do this, we're gonna start a podcast, we're gonna do all these things. It's like, no, let's stop talking and let's just start doing. And that's when it was like, write down a simple plan. Okay, we're gonna post 3 times a day. What we're gonna post about? We're gonna have 3 types of posts we're gonna do. In the morning, we're gonna do something motivational. In the evening, we're gonna do something that's educational or highlighting somebody. And then later in the evening, we're going to do some type of video content because people are home and they got time to watch that stuff. And that was the very basic beginning. And then from there, it just was us listening to our audience, continuing to put out content regardless of what the reaction was. There was some posts where I thought I snapped, bro. I ain't going. I was like, man,
I'm telling you,
I snapped
hey,
on this one. Ooh, this joint pressure.
Listen.
And then nobody liked it.
Listen, bro. Like, it's funny because first of all, big ups to both of y'all. The success that BWR has garnered is well deserved.
Appreciate
right?
that.
We play in the same sandbox. We're in the same space. We're in the same city. You know what I mean? And to look across the table and to see you two young brothers, doing it. Big ups to you.
Appreciate it.
It's really cool because everything that he was talking about, Mo, we're on that same journey. So,
like you said it, so it's very yin and yang. Like, he's very analytical. I am like, man, start the car, let's go. Like, where are we trying to go? Forget the roadmap, but we'll figure it out on the way down, right? And so, like you said, like, we came to him, like, we had done a lot of planning, and one day I called him, I was like, in order for us to have a podcast, guess what? We got to start podcasting. We got to go. Put the boat in the water. Let's go. And so it's cool to hear that somebody else went through that same journey. Like, again, kudos to y'all for doing what it is that y'all do, because it's needed, right? It's needed. It's entertaining. It's educational. But, like, you're literally serving a purpose.
And I want to tap into that. And this is for either one of you brothers. Like, you kind of touched on a little bit. We know what Black Wealth Renaissance is, and we'll get more into that, right? But why is this so important to you guys?
Honestly, so
Can I see the lighter?
So, as he was alluding, just saying, he and Jared, they ended up starting this, but why it's so important is because of, once again, there's a young brother, a young sister, somebody out there who doesn't have access to an aunt, an uncle, an older cousin like us, who needs to understand this information. They might be going through high school, college, or something like that, and they don't know, hey, you need to save a minimum of 10% of your money. You need to be investing another minimum of 20% of your money. You need to be paying off your debts if you have any high consumer debt that's eating your ass up. You need to get that out the books as fast as you can and start learning how to own these things. And one of the biggest reasons why this was so important to us was there's a study. I forgot who actually did the study, but the study said...
I got you. The Road to Wealth study by Prosperity Now.
Prosperity Now. By 2053, the average net worth is going for the black household is going to be zero.
Good Lord.
I said, wait a minute. This is 2018. I was like, that's less than 40 years. I was like, so you telling me I'm gonna be a broke ass motherfucker? Man, nah. And I'm like, you telling me everybody I know is gonna be broke? You can't, I can't let that happen on my watch, especially if we know this information and we can break it down.
To you?
Because, I've always been, I'm not gonna say just always been passionate about just helping the black culture, but just being a black man is I'm one of those people. I am just a compassionate person. If I see somebody in help that need it, I'm gonna help them, right? I'm gonna do whatever I can. If it's in my time and if it's in my resources, in my power, I'm gonna do what I can to connect that person, help that person. If you got a blown flat, hey, look, I got a jack in the back of my truck. Let me help you out. Or you need a move, I'm gonna do that. But the reason why it's just for the black people is we've been broke for too long. I don't know too many people who was doing some of these things. I don't know people who not living in debt. I don't know people who own their own shit. I'm from Opelousas, Louisiana, a small town. A lot of people renting. A lot of people living in fucked up houses. How can I change this? How can I change this? And I know I'm just the man, but at least I know I can do something. And I know I've always felt this way as a young kid. God destined me for greatness, some way, somehow. And once we caught wind of this, it was just man, I think this is my fucking purpose. This is what God said on my heart.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How about you?
Man, the reason why I want to do this so bad, kind of alluding to the same thing Jalen did, looking around my surroundings, bro. Seeing the people that I grew up with and just recognizing that, man, my whole family is in a situation where it's nobody taught us this information. We don't have an extensive history with money or wealth as a community. A lot of our grandparents, they didn't know nothing other than save, and we're still living in those same types of mindsets a lot of time. You still passing on this same trauma to your kids. It's financial trauma in a sense, right? They got black people who don't trust banks because in the 20s and 30s, they had banks that got robbed, and like your people are passing this same mindset down to you. So now you got people who think keeping your money in the shoebox is the best idea, or like I gotta have cash. And we don't learn about investing and how wealth is actually generated in this country. It's generated through business, ownership, and investing. Like those are the three key things. And the fact that I could look around in my immediate circle and not see anybody that like I grew up around that owned things that could teach me about it, that knew anything about how to invest in the stock market or how to start a business the legal way and not just have this little side operation where you don't even file taxes and start growing the enterprise. Seeing these things was like, man, I need to be part of this change. And then recognizing the time that we're in, that's where the name Black Wealth Renaissance came from. I felt like I was seeing an awakening at the time. Like I'm on the internet, everybody's on. I'm like, some of us are getting it. Not everybody, but some of us are. So let's find those people that are understanding and let's create a community for them. Let's create a place that they can come and educate each other, because our whole thing was like, we're not the experts, right? We know some shit now, but when we started in 2018, we were green. Like we was fresh out of school just learning. And I mean, don't get me wrong, did I learn how to open a stock account and start investing? And did I learn the benefits of dollar cost averaging?
Did I lose
Yes.
some money? Yes.
Did I lose some money? Yes. But that process of getting started is just one of the biggest things to me. I just want to help so many others get started, because once you get that bug and that itch, you can start going on your own journey. You don't need somebody to hold your hand no more. You don't need somebody to catch the fish for you. You can start going fish. And like, it's beautiful to see it, because like now with our podcast and our platform, we get messages every day. Earlier this week, somebody sent us a message. They was like, since listening to y'all podcast, I saved up $30K, bought my first house, and now I own, like, I think they said their retirement account had like $50,000. And these are all things that they weren't thinking about or doing before getting introduced to the concept. So it's just like that little one small seed can be planted and help somebody else for generations. And we just trying to buck that trend. We don't want to see 2053, the average net worth, being zero. That shit trash.
Yeah.
Terrible. So before I switch gears, allow us to say thank you to Edwina Brown, Jacoby, the entire family here at Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge for hosting us. Check out this quick commercial, visionaries.
Hey everyone, Edwina Brown here, owner operator of Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge. We're located at 1604 North Interstate 35E in Lancaster, Texas. We would love for you to come see us. We stand on the 3 C's, which are cigars, our community, and our culture. Cigars, we have over 300 SKUs in our humidor, and it's still growing. Come check it out, a massive humidor. We also love our culture here, which we're about customer service, as well as community, which is why we're excited to partner with the TheVisionLab podcast. So come check us out.
Hey, it's so good to be back home, bro. It's been a minute.
Yes.
Big ups to Jacoby and EB. Salute to you. We love y'all. Thank you so much for your love and support. So, during the last segment, you kind of talked about one word that stuck out to me, which was mindset. So, you guys have had the privilege to cover a lot of people, to interview a lot of people, to see a lot of things through social media that you've leveraged on your platform. What type of mindset, because this is the TheVisionLab podcast and this is what we talk about, what type of mindset do we need to have to start to become more financially savvy, financially literate?
So I think the biggest mindset that we have to abandon is the victimhood mindset. I think it's a strong trend in the community where it's like, okay, there's a lot of things that happen, right? There's a lot of things historically, kind of going back to banks that got robbed and our people losing money and being taken advantage of, not being able to vote, all these other things that, yes, these are things that in our history have been negative or deterrents, but it shouldn't stop us.
They happened.
They happen. These are things that happen, but they should not stop us from trying to move forward. Because I think too often we get to a point where it's like, we're expecting something to change without ourselves trying to initiate change. And that is the biggest thing to me. Is like, you gotta really get rid of that mindset that somebody's coming to save you, because nobody's coming to save you. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. Jesus not coming tomorrow to save you, dog. He not gonna fix your problems today. Like,
Because faith without works is
Faith
dead.
without
That's
works is
exactly what I
dead.
was just about to say.
You have to take that first step. You have to be the person to recognize that, like, if I want something greater in life, I can't expect the next man to come and do that for me. I'm gonna have to get up off my ass and figure it out. I always look at it this way: you got two types of people, right? You either gonna be building or you gonna be bullshit.
Ooh.
And the person that's building always gonna figure it out. The person that's bullshitting always gonna fold.
They're
Man,
always gonna complain as well.
let me pivot over to you.
Okay.
So the word I gave you was mindset, and then you just dropped another gem. Y'all visionaries, make sure that you're picking up on this, right? He talked about action. How important is action?
Action is extremely important, and I kind of want to go off of the mindset and just segue into the action. Another mindset that I've seen a lot of people that come on our show come through is they invest in themselves, and I think that's another big gem that many people in our community we fail to do. Right, once we graduate high school or college, we turn off the learning mode. That's
Education
not
done.
education does not exactly. It should be just starting. So a lot of people who come on our show, they invest in themselves the most. They might invest in stocks and everything like that, but they're investing into their knowledge. They're investing into their network. They're investing into themselves more because that's going to give you the greater return, right?
skills.
And then that goes into the action. The action is the late nights reading. The actions is actually taking those classes, sitting down, breaking it down, and then another action is actually practicing what you wanting to do. Right? If you want to become a great podcaster, you have to, like you said, put the boat in the water and actually start driving that thing. You got to start doing it. You got to take the reps. So if you want to be a great real estate wholesaler, you got to put in the cold calls. If you want to be a great stock trader, you have to start executing the trades. If you want to be a great businessman, you got to start doing the work with the business. You have to do whatever you want to do. That's how you they got basketball in the back. That's how you become a great basketball player. Y'all talking about Lamar Jackson. That's how you become a great football player. If you want to be a great teacher, you have to put in the work and teach years and years of students. Whatever you want to do, whatever it feels like, you want to become great at, you have to put in the work and put in the hours that people don't see. Because right now, y'all saying, hey, BWR, like, we big, but I know we still not where we want to be. And we putting in the dirty work, like the hours. Like, just before I came here, editing and uploading content before we even got here. Like, you still have to understand and learn how to get it all done. So that's my biggest thing.
We speak the same language. I told you it's going to be good. So let me switch gears, right? So you guys decided, okay, we're going to do a podcast. And I ask everybody this question. When did y'all know y'all are on to something? Like, everyone has like a light bulb moment where you're like, you know what? Like, this is going to work.
Can I answer that?
I'll let you go.
So for me personally, it was like the second or third episode. We had, but once again, we had a social media platform. We had like 50,000 followers at this point.
Okay.
So like our social media platform was growing, but we ended up getting a DM from a dude out in Bermuda. Never forget his name. His name is Body Barbera on Instagram. He was like, yo, man, I just want to say thank y'all for the podcast. I never would have thought that some of these things were possible. He's like, I want to buy a property out in Bermuda. Can you guys help me out? I sat there, I stopped, I Googled a few things. I was like, look, bro, this is what you do. And I was like, this is what I Googled. That's another thing that people in our community don't do well. We don't go out and seek the information properly. If you could ask me, hey, how did you do this?
Bro,
you can put that
is
shit
like
on Google
huge.
and you can go through it. But once again, that goes to the education piece. We don't like to read. We don't like to, hey, just take the time out, go read, go watch some videos, but don't just take the first source that you get. You want to get multiple sources so you can see, okay, what is the common theme? What's overlapping?
Vet the
Does this
information.
sound like bullshit?
information.
Vet the information. So that's whenever I knew we were on to something. We had a guy from out of Bermuda. I'm like, Bermuda, nigga? What? What are you doing?
I'm from Appaloosa.
Yeah, I'm like, dog, I was like, dog, the triangle?
How about you, David?
So I think for me, I recognized we was really onto something again when Nip passed, right? So when Nip passed, we were like heartbroken, right? I was looking, and then we went to his page, and we realized Nip followed us, and I said, "Wait a minute, Nipsey Hussle, the brother that like literally was one of the motivations, one of the people that inspired us to even start this journey and really kind of kept us in that mindset." Was like he seen what we was doing and had enough
Early on, too.
Early on, like I'm talking, Jalen, you've been saying 50. I think we was probably at 30, and this was maybe 5 months in. I'm like, if people like Nipsey are seeing what we're doing, and people are tapping into our podcast on top of seeing it grow week over week, I think another thing we also seen that we were in the top 1% of podcasters really quickly.
Yeah,
it was like I think by our second or third episode, we were getting consistently 1,000 plays on the episode. That's not normal. Like, that's not normal in the podcasting industry. And we recognize that, like, okay, we have something here. And the conversations that we were having, we were seeing dialogue created from that. Where we had a conversation about college, and people would come and kind of speak to us about it. They hit us in the DM. Like, hey, yo, what y'all said, I resonated with that. Like, I went through that same process where it's like, I graduated. I thought this was going to be my golden ticket because this is what the people in my family who had never been there, that's what they told me, right? And that's what I thought. But I didn't have the foresight or the guidance to really understand that this is just the beginning. This is not going to get you that 6-figure job if you don't get in the right career field. You're going to have to figure some other stuff out if you didn't make those moves. And it's like just kind of looking at it like, okay, it may not have been what you wanted it to be, but you're still equipped with this education, and this education shows you more about yourself than you recognize. You learn that you can learn just about anything. So if you can learn anything in college, by the time you get to your junior and senior year, you done learn some stuff. You done learn some stuff in a very deep level. So if you could do that for a degree that you're not using, you can do it for your own self in your life to apply to better your situation. And that's when I recognized we was like really on to something when people were not only listening to us, but then taking it and taking action and coming back with their feedback.
Yeah, and I love it. It's just funny because I'm grinning ear to ear, right? Because it's the same shit that we've experienced, right? So I'm curious as it relates to, like I said, you guys have been doing the same amount of time we have. We had a lot of interviews. What has podcasting done for your life?
Oh, man, that's a great question.
So I know from a networking perspective, I've been able to learn and network with so many different individuals that I never would have been able to meet if I had not created a podcast. It's given me access to different individuals and different situations that I just would not have had I not just decided to start a podcast with my friends. And then on top of that, it's also created a business for me. So now we have a business that not only is globally recognized, but we also have different streams of revenue that we can bring in, right? So we're able to bring in revenue from advertising because we have an audience. We're able to bring in revenue from digital products because we have people who are tapped in and willing to and ready to learn. We're able to generate our own side things, right? So if we want
speaking
engagements, we recently just got a speaking engagement. I think I was telling you about it.
Well, we flying to Fort Lauderdale this weekend to go speak at a conference, Black Men in Tech.
Come on.
Yeah, then November 11th, we're going to be going to Norfolk, Virginia. So we've been able to speak, even like he was alluding to, right, the networking and things like that. Like, that's one of the biggest tickets, but also the ability to really understand and speak to people just anywhere. Like, recognizing and say, okay, hey, this is something I do to become a better podcaster. I just spark a conversation with people because I want to always sharpen my skills, figure out, okay, how can I figure out what's going on with this person? How can I really just understand the human that they are? Because that's another great thing with podcasting, especially when you're interviewing different people. It's like everybody's different. So how do you get through that barrier and how do you start to talk to them? Because we have some people that they talk, some people they're very analytical. So how do you get to their level and and how are you able to speak to them and, just get through that. Another thing is the public speaking. I've never really had a problem with public speaking, but it's also increased it because another revenue stream, we do events. So we're going to host the event. We're going to speak in front of people, like not being afraid to do that. I know I wasn't afraid like when we first started recording because as David was alluding earlier, they had their social media channels in college. I had a YouTube channel. So I would do vlogging and stuff and teach people how to cook on YouTube. So I wasn't afraid to put the camera on me and, just edit the content. My dad's also a DJ. So understanding XLRs and all the cables and all of that shit, it was second nature to me. Like I just came in, I was like, yo,
that audio would have been trash for a long time.
So we're laughing because we had to go through that, right? We didn't have the experience with audio and visual. And big shout out to Adam, who jumped on board with us a couple years ago and really has taken this to the next level. But for us, it was learning about XLRs, what type of mics to use, and I don't think either one of us were ever afraid of the camera.
No.
As much. But I want to put this out there. And forgive me for this, but we're going to have an event in January to kick off the year.
Okay.
We want to partner with BWR. We'll talk about it offline.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
We haven't unveiled it yet, but y'all heard it first here on the Vision Lab podcast. We got BWR in the building. I'm Ryan Cuffey. That's Ryan Mosley. Yo, we are getting it in with BWR right now. But yeah, we definitely want to have you guys back. We got something that's right up your alley that I think you guys will definitely like.
let's do it.
So this being the Vision Lab podcast, I have to ask, when I say the word vision, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Visualize. You got to see it before it happens. You got to be able to say, okay, I know this is where I'm going before you can even really before it's tangible, right? Like, that's something that I've always had in me as well. Like, once again, I said we're not where we're at, but I already see
Where we
the
going?
office. I already see the office space. I see the logo. I see that, we're going to be on the biggest of the biggest award stages. Like, I see that. I see the suit I'm wearing right now. I see the pendant that I got on. Like, you have to see those things before they're even tangible. So that's my biggest thing.
How about you?
For me, I say adversity. It's always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be something that's going to test your vision. Whenever I very first started with Black Wealth Renaissance, I wanted to quit my job. I quit my job, and we could talk about that. We could talk about that. That was a misstep, right? We quit our jobs a bit early. We jumped off the porch early. But
It's okay. I did it too.
The vision that I had was so great. I wanted to go through that adversity. And my mom looked me in my soul and told me I wouldn't shit. I was a teacher at the time, and I said, I'm not doing this. I'm going to chase my dream, and I'm going to do what I feel is my purpose that I was put here for. And to deal with that adversity, sometimes it takes mental toughness. Not everybody can sit there, and I was living with my parents at the time. I'm going through this scrutiny every day, but I understand that my vision is greater than what they put in front of me. The things that they're saying, the things that everybody else feels, that's not your reality. Your reality is only determined by what's up here. And if you are taking action toward making your vision a reality, that adversity won't matter. Like, as long as you're doing it within means and you're not putting yourself in a bad situation, go for it.
Can I add one more word to that?
Of course.
Clarity as well. You can't allow the outside forces to muck up your vision. Like David said, you might be getting some shit from your mom, from your dad, from your grandmother. I was living with my grandmother at the time. Like, you might be getting this, or people might see that, hey, this person is actually on the rise. Let me tell you this, you can do this, you can do that, and they're not seeing what you're seeing. So you can't allow those people, you can't allow those people to change your vision. You got to see it clear. You got to say, okay, this is the path that I'm on.
So, can we talk about the revolt?
Yeah.
Let's because I think that's a dream for us, to somehow be on a platform to that degree. How did that all come about? What was the engagement like as that unfolded?
Yeah, so again, it comes back to relationships. So shout out to my guy Evan, one of the guys. Black Menswear helped with Black Men Summit, putting this event together that just happened on October 22nd. Evan, he works in advertising. He works in that realm, and he has meetings with different people. Revolt was recently launching their podcast network. our name was getting mentioned in rooms where we weren't. They had already seen it. They can see the charts. They seen business podcasts and they seen Black Wealth Renaissance. So like, man, can you set that meeting up? So the relationship is what opened the door. Our guy knew the vice president of business development. We set up the meeting. What they were looking to do aligned perfectly with what we were looking to do. So it's like, okay, y'all are looking for content. We have content. We're looking for a platform, a platform that can help us continue to push our message out to a broader audience. We get to retain our ownership. Let's do it. We own our podcast. We're on a. It's like we're signing an indie deal, right?
Yeah.
We still own 100%. We still keep our brand. We still own everything related to our brand. We just now have
Like a
a
distribution.
distribution company.
deal. Come
We
on,
got a
guys.
distribution
PNJ
company. Yeah, we
Yeah.
got a distribution deal. Like we keeping the splits and they just distribute the pod. So I love that we were able to get that because to Jalen's point, right, that's getting us one step closer to that vision of where we see it being at the apex of Black Wealth Renaissance, right? This is one step toward that goal.
What does the apex look like? I gotta ask.
We are a multi-billion-dollar media company. Once again, we're creating media. We actually have a financial institution where we're able to have people bank with us, and we're able to disperse lending into our community. And then we're also just teaching people how to create content through that media company part, right? So that's my vision. I know David might have some more to add on that.
The one biggest thing that I see is actually creating and being one of the resources for lobbying with Black people. I don't think as a community we understand how politics works in this country, and everything is about money. I know we like to think it's about, hey, I can go stand outside and I'm gonna share my opinion and we're showing the solidarity. At the end of the day, money is what make everything move. When I first learned about political action committees, I was working on the ambulance. And I was like, well, why y'all want me to donate money to this? Because this guarantees that you're going to have a job. So why, as a community, have we not come together and thought about that? And that's one thing that I see our platform being able to do as we continue to grow and build out our own media platform that can reach. Right now we have 500,000 followers on social media. We don't own social media. We want media that we own. Because whenever we have media that we own, we can disperse our message fully and directly to the people
As you see fit.
as we see fit. And whenever we can get those messages out there and get that education out there, we can start that process of being like, okay, so this is the initiatives that we want to take forward. This is who we're going to have representing us. And this is for $10, $20 a month, you can throw into this pot. And now we have people that are actually representing our interest in Washington instead of us
Winging a prayer.
thinking that something's going to change.
I want to tap into the podcast itself.
Okay.
What can our visionaries that will be tapping into BWR, or anyone that's new to BWR, what can they expect on your podcast?
I'll let you
So
take it.
our podcast is really rich, but one of the biggest things we always focus on is mindset. Like, because once again, I stated that's what a lot of guests, they very focus on, and I believe it as well. If you weak here, you beat everywhere. Unless you got tough mental fortitude, like you can't get to the next level. So mindset is one of the first things. Another thing is investing. Investing from practical standpoints, such as starting your stock account, making sure that you tapped into your company's 401ks. A lot of people think 401ks are useless, but if you leave that job, you can still take that 401k with you. You can roll it over into a IRA. You can actually roll it into a SEP 401k, so where you can still contribute to it personally. And then also, while building that 401k, once you roll it over, then you can borrow from it without having to pay it back to the company before leaving. Like, so if you have an exit strategy, I'm just give y'all a little play, right? You have an exit strategy. You say, okay, I got a business I'm building, right? Instead of taking that loan before you leave the job, take the loan after. After you have set up either your IRA or 401k after you left the job. Now you can take that loan and you don't have to pay it back in that grace period once you leave the job. Now you're taking that loan from yourself, and now you're paying back that interest to yourself tax-free. because you don't pay money on loans.
But it gotta be vested. Gotta be vested first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
People understand that.
other thing that like
Also,
kinda how
and
Jalen's
don't just take the money out just to go do some bullshit. Make sure it's gonna make you some more money.
Yeah, always. Kind of how Jalen just mentioned, you should expect strategies from people, right? So we get some of the best and brightest entrepreneurs and really CEOs, leaders of companies onto our podcast and our platform to share their journey. The mindset piece is part of it, and also the steps, right? We like to go through the action steps that people took so that you can apply these same things to your life, right? I'm a real big believer that examples lead to expansion, right? So like if you can see somebody that has done what maybe something that you thought was impossible, you just open up your mind to a new possibility. So one of the biggest things that our platform focuses on with our podcast specifically is getting into, okay, yeah, you're here now, but what did you do to get here? Because to the brother that's sitting on his ass, his pocket's empty, he like, man, it's impossible. Well, you were there at one point. What did you do to change that situation? So we really like to focus on getting into the action steps and then strategies, right? We like to give different strategies. So when it comes to businesses, structuring your business properly, we like to get people who come from a legal perspective, from a tax perspective. How can you properly structure and navigate that side of your business? When it comes to investing, we like to get people to come in and discuss, okay, we know these different loan products. How did you actually acquire it? How did it actually work? What was the process like? We want to get real granular with you so that you can take that and then be like, all right, if I ain't know nothing, I at least know this and I can fill in the gaps. And if I can't fill in the gaps, you just don't want it bad enough.
And another part is making sure that we make that person relatable as well, because a lot of times people see successful people and they don't see themselves in that successful person. So like David said, taking them back, what was one of your biggest failures, or what did it look like when you didn't have that money, so that person can say, okay, I did see that person did come from a situation like where I'm currently at, so now they can have that belief and say, you know what, it is possible.
Seeing is believing. And I think we all would agree, and you said it too, like, no matter what stage you're at, there's got to be something, there's got to be an internal mechanism where you got to have some type of faith or belief in yourself, right? Yeah, you got to have a vision. And we talked about this last night in another meeting. No matter what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's real estate, podcasting, tech, whatever it is, I think we'll all agree, there's got to be something in you that says, I can do this shit.
Facts.
Whether whether you're an expert in it or not, whatever point in time you're in, you've got to have that. And I'm one of those people who feel like my whole theme for 2022 has been uncharted territory. Like, I'm trying to go somewhere where nobody that I know has gone before. And we've already talked about, like, I operate in a space, like, I'm a unicorn, the space I operate in on a daily basis. Like, and it's to the point now on a daily, I'm on phone calls and Zoom calls, and I'm walking in meeting rooms. I'm the only one of us in the room. I'm a damn unicorn, and I get a kick out of it for various reasons. But at the same time, like, I believe in me. Like, I believe, like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm gonna make enough connections one way that, like, something's gonna shake. And so I say all that to say, when you guys encounter your guests and people who reach out to you guys, right? Can you guys tell when you talk to somebody who actually, like, really believes in themselves?
Yeah, you can see that shit. You can definitely see that shit. But there's also people who are great at faking the funk. Really? Like, there's been people on our podcast that they do.
Notorious.
It's really two. This guy named Brandon Jones. I'm
Whoa,
gonna put him out there. Yeah, fuck it.
Name
I'm gonna put his ass
dropping,
out there. This guy named Brandon Jones, right? He was like, yeah, I'm a multi-millionaire. He had fake stock accounts. Like, he was like, yo.
No, he didn't say. He said he was a 9-figure nigga was what he said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had the whole timeline.
Yeah, he had
for a while.
all of us, like, going,
Yeah.
like, but last year sometime, like, was that last year or this year?
Last year.
Last year sometimes, like, some of his close friends, they was like, some of this shit just not adding up. So, like, he faked the funk really well. Like, he got us. I ain't even gonna lie. If y'all see that nigga on the internet, he try to hire y'all. Go the other way. Don't fuck with that nigga.
Whoa.
I'm telling y'all.
Nah, he was getting people like on real estate deals and stuff like that, like saying fake real estate deals, fake investments type stuff. So that stuff has happened. Like where it's like, okay, somebody has been able to fake the funk, but more times than not, if you don't believe in yourself, chances are we wouldn't get you on the platform.
Yeah.
Like most of the people that we talk to, they know. Like there's stuff that they doing, they know. You know, like I knew it was either this or it was nothing.
Yeah.
And that's got to be, like you were saying, Mo, it's got to be one of the driving factors. You got to have that in you. It's like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
I don't care if I was down to my last 4 bands. I said I'm going to be a trader. I'm going to be a trader. Like, it's just that internal mechanism, that belief system that I can do what I put my mind to.
So I'm curious, how do you guys find your guests?
A lot of the guests reach out to us. So now it's a lot of inbound stuff. But sometimes it is just coming across a certain page on the internet, watching them for a while, seeing what they're talking about, what type of content that they're producing. Might see somebody on the news and be like, oh, this is interesting. Let's try to reach out to that person. At one point, we had a PR team with us, and they kind of helped us get some guests, but we veered away from that. But right now, it's a lot of, a lot of inbound, and then we check you out, see what's going on, or kind of like with how we got connected with you guys. Somebody might say, yo, I got this person, they do great work, you should definitely have them on the podcast. Once again, check them out. Sometimes it's like episodes that should have been done, but they ain't get done until like a year after we know about that person. But it's really just watching, especially after that stuff happened with those 2 people. It was just like, yo, we gotta watch, because we got a duty.
It's your brand.
Yeah, it's our brand, but we also have a duty to protect the people who don't understand. So it's like, yo, this is a huge platform that a lot of people are exposed to. There's this other lady, she scammed somebody for like 11 bands. Wow. Yeah. To help them start a trucking company or whatever. So it's just like, yo.
That's the new hustle. So, hey, start a trucking company for $250. You're like, man, I don't know anything about starting a trucking company, but it's hard to convince me you can start a nationwide trucking company for $250
fucking dollars. Yeah.
I don't know about
Well,
that.
the important thing is that, I love the fact that it is about the brand, but it's really about protecting your audience.
Yes.
And
that's
you guys,
paramount, bro.
100%.
Because the audience is who makes us. So
They trust us.
Yeah, like we got a duty to protect them.
I love it. Mo, is it time to land the plane?
The name of this segment is called Land in the Plane. It is brought to you by the good folks at Sagamore Spirit. Shout out to Tim, Kevin Plank, everybody involved in this partnership. Visionaries, y'all know we don't have products on the show unless we stand by it. You can look at the bottle until we stand by it. Check out this quick commercial for Sagamore Spirit.
There are a few hard truths to whiskey that most brands don't like to admit. First, there's a lot of it. And second, despite its lore and romance, whiskey is often complex and intimidating. Is that high or low proof? Toasted or charred? Aged or finished? Straight or blended? Imported or American? Endless options, endless questions, endless confusion. But there is a whiskey out there that makes selecting it simple. An exceptional spirit made with local ingredients and committed to its communities. That's us. That's Sagamore Spirit. Sagamore Spirit has been and always will be more than just whiskey. Our work, your work, is greater than the sum of its parts. Keep the momentum moving. And one more thing. It's whiskey. Have fun with it.
Pull me up, Sagamore Spirit. Let's see what it's hitting on.
Is it, what is it?
This is a
Scotch?
whiskey?
Oh,
Scotch?
Yeah, it's a rye. Be careful.
It's going to put a little hair on your chest.
I ain't never been scared of that. Let's see what's popping.
From Louisiana, we been drinking.
This is a liquor in the gas station, not them. Texas is a little different, man. That was an adjustment.
All right, so fellas, as we land the plane, first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to you guys and do a little toast.
Thank you,
on behalf
brothers.
of
Appreciate you,
Sagamore
brothers.
Shout out
Spirit.
to y'all.
Mo kind of touched on it a little bit earlier with like the long-term vision, right? But I want to scale it back. So Black Wealth Renaissance as an entity, right? What do you want your audience to know about you or the brand that they don't already know? What do you want your audience to know about Black Wealth Renaissance that they don't already know?
We still figuring this shit out, y'all.
That's it.
Like we're all learning, and we want to grow as they grow as well. I know that's one of the biggest things. And then as far as just our brand is like, yo, we care. Like, I'd rather take the long way and the right way than take shortcuts and get to the top fast. Like, I'd rather do this with good morale and treat people right.
I want to interject and interrupt you for a second, because I really do want to tip my hat off to both of you young brothers, because you're young, you're wise beyond your years. But the fact that you're willing to say we don't have this shit figured out, I think a lot of people, we just talked about people that were faking it, right? I think a lot of people pose and act like they have the shit figured out on the outside, and internally they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just building the parachute on the way down, right? But I think people need to hear that. Like, yo, we don't have it all figured out. Like, we don't have it figured out. You know what I'm saying? And we're doing our best. And hopefully the content is valuable, that you're getting things from it. But the ability to stand up here and say that, right? Salute to you, King. Salute to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And from my standpoint, man, business is not always easy, right? So, like, we started as 4. I don't think we've publicly said it, but now we're down to 2. So, and this was started with 4 friends. So relationships got broken, and that may not always be easy. That's a challenge within itself. And anytime something like that occurs, it affects you in ways that you may not understand at the time. But you should never ever, and we are not letting that stop us. These are some of my closest friends. We're not friends. Business went sour, and we're not close. And that's something that I have to live with. And that's something that I want people to understand. And when you're doing business with friends, always have your business in line properly at the beginning. I know Jalen mentioned we're building a parachute as we're coming down, right? So understanding that now, knowing what we know now, making sure that when you're coming out the gate, having everything structured properly. We were talking and learning about things that we didn't have done at the time, right? But as we're growing, we're getting it done. We're building that parachute on the way down. We get a trademark after we talk to a couple trademark attorneys, like, hey, we should probably trademark this thing, you know? Like, or understanding that, yeah, to properly have a business structure, you need an operating agreement. We didn't have an operating agreement in place until 2 years. But this is stuff that people may not know about us, but I want you to know that, like, again, we're not perfect, but we are here to educate, and we're going to continue to do and grow.
So as we wind down the show, and both y'all can answer this, is you at a round table, since there's 2 of you, well, each one of you get 5 people you want your table, dead or alive. The only stipulation is you can't have God at your table, because who would want to talk to him? Outside of that, I'll start with you.
So it's 10 people?
Yeah, 10 people. So
you get 5, you get 5.
yeah, so I'll start with you, David. Who are the 5 people you want at your table?
Reginald F. Lewis.
Who?
Reginald F. Lewis. Black Billy. I mean, what are the first, man?
Yeah.
What we do is we toast anytime we've never heard a name on the show before.
Really?
Reginald F. Lewis, man, definitely one of the first black businessmen that really did things. Why do white guys have to have all the fun?
Y'all should read that book.
Definitely a great book.
Wow.
Reginald F. Lewis. Definitely got to get nipped there. I got to get again part of the inspiration and the motivation for what we did. See, who else would I really enjoy to have there? A couple of these old stalwarts of business. I'd like to have a Henry Ford there. Henry Ford, definitely one of the great businessmen of American times.
That's 3.
Got me thinking on this one.
That's what we do.
That's why we asked the question.
Robert F. Smith, recent billionaire. I definitely have to give.
I know who that is. I know who that is.
We do
You took
And surprisingly, probably Kanye West. I think Kanye West is a misunderstood genius at times.
Yeah, 100% is. Most geniuses are.
Like,
You took my idea. I wanted Robert F. Smith.
All right, Jay, who you got?
Okay. I'd have P. Diddy at my table.
Okay.
I'd have Jeff Bezos at my table.
I knew you were gonna say Bezos. I forgot.
You know how, yeah, Bezos is a guy. I'd take Hove. I'd take Jay-Z at my table. Somebody who can really broker good deals.
You got 2 left.
I know.
This is a head scratcher. You ask a question I ain't never think about before.
Feel free to use this on your platform.
I'd have Malcolm X at my table.
Which
Yeah,
version?
there you go.
Which version?
So we've had this a lot.
You want
Which
Red or
one?
you want Malcolm?
Yeah.
Not Detroit Red. Like, yeah.
That was a bad man.
I go with Malcolm after he took his pilgrimage to the Mecca. Yeah, I go with that version of Malcolm.
The man. they
One
have
more
to
seat,
take
right?
out.
Yeah, one more seat.
Give me one more second. Or Donahue Peoples.
You speaking your language.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
My bad.
That's Don Peoples for those of you who don't know the full name.
Yes, sir.
Google that name.
Yes, sir.
So
You had the pleasure of meeting that man.
I
actually.
did actually.
that's dope.
Met him
Like,
for real.
yeah, like in August, I got to interview him for a quick second, but
How was it?
man, he is phenomenal, dog.
That's
Humble as
amazing.
hell too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you 2 young brothers, we're opening up. We're gonna have a little bit of fun before we finally hit the wheels on the ground. What do y'all do for fun?
I enjoy kayaking.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
I put him on the
Yeah, he did
kayaking,
put me on
so-
kayaking. Kayaking is like one of my joys. But I do. I like outside things, right? Things out there in nature, clearing my mind. I like to go outside to Cedar Ridge. Probably one of my top 5 spots in Dallas. I just like to go out there, walk through, take in the nature. Outside of that, I'm not really big into video games and stuff like that.
Thank you.
He
Thank
play
you.
some FIFA though.
Thank you.
That nigga play some
I
FIFA.
whoop a nigga in some FIFA, don't get me wrong, but like I don't own no game systems, none of that type of shit. But man, really like I said, I just like to take that time to go outside, be in nature. That's like
Some
one
reflection.
of my reflection time. And then fun, man. I like to go out with my friends, man. Every night again, you gotta go out there, turn up, you know. Let's go outside, get a couple drinks, go somewhere, have some time, have some fun.
Jay, what about you?
For me, once again, kayaking, fishing. I love fishing, love hunting. Once again, I'm a big outdoorsman. I had a gun in my hand since I was like 7. My dad would take us hunting and fishing. I like driving boats. I like ATVs, 4-wheelers and shit like that. Like that's some shit where I really like to have fun. I also like to cook.
Louisiana likes being outdoors.
I also like to
Probably
cook.
got a knife on him right now.
Yeah. I love cooking. Cooking is another thing that I like to do for fun. It just helps me unwind and stuff like that. And then, like David said, I like to go turn up. I ain't gonna lie. Whenever I'm out, I'm gonna turn up. I'm gonna be a party animal. Like,
Let's get it.
I'm gonna do it.
Let's get it. All right. So, are you guys bachelors? I mean, are we single?
So both got women.
Okay.
My girl of 3 years, me and her been dating for 3 years now.
Okay.
Looking
Shout out
like
to
she
the queen.
Looking like she gonna be the one, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her going over there after
All
this.
right.
Yeah. Me and my girl, we've been on and off since college. So I met her in college. We've been going at it for 6 years. So
Love it. Love it. Well, y'all are doing the damn thing, man. So I love to ask this question, final question of the podcast. And by the way, I want to give you guys the opportunity. Look into the camera. Make sure you guys give all your social media handles for any new followers that want to, get in contact with you. How can they get a hold of you guys?
So to tap in with me, I can be found on every platform. David Bellard, David_Bellard on Instagram. What's my Twitter? Just type in David Bellard. I promise you see me. I look just like I look right now. You feel me?
big cheese and
Yeah, I'm always smiling. But yeah, if you want to get at me, man, definitely just shoot me a DM. I'm super responsive sometimes. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hit you right back, but I'm gonna hit you back sooner rather than later. But you can always hit me via DM, and if you have any business inquiries, always you can hit us on the business email, dbellard@blackwealthrenaissance.com. Check that every day. Check it frequently. Anything related to business, y'all get at me.
We get a text. He will respond.
For me, my personal social media is _JClark06. Shout out to the alphas. That's right. Twitter, Hefe Clap. Hefe_Clap. Clap is my nickname that I got from back home. Don't ask about the story.
Whoa.
Don't ask about the story.
Whoa. When I first heard it, I said, yo, that's not a good one, bro.
Do I need to
But
slide over a little
y'all
bit?
know y'all be having those nicknames that's like, why this shit stuck?
Man, I don't
It's just
wanna know.
like, yeah. Well, yeah. But Hefe_Clap on Twitter. And then for business, Black Wealth Renaissance on Instagram. That's Black Wealth Renaissance. Then on Twitter, it's BWR_movement. On TikTok, Black Wealth Renaissance. Our business email, Facebook, Black Wealth Renaissance. Podcast, Black Wealth Renaissance.
TikTok.
Yeah, everything. It's the only thing that's not Black Wealth Renaissance is Twitter, because they didn't allow us to put all those characters. So that's BWR_movement.
And when does the show air?
Every
Every
Wednesday
Wednesday
at 8:30.
AM.
We should have an episode
AM?
dropping.
Yeah.
8:30 p.m.
Yeah, we just had an episode
Yeah.
drop
There
like
you
30
go.
minutes ago.
There you go. Big ups. Big up. Weekly?
Weekly.
Every week. Every
Every
Wednesday. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so in case y'all didn't know, we have a magical time machine here in the lab.
Okay.
Tell me
Okay.
about it.
So, what advice would you be giving yourself from 5 years ago? So today's version of yourself, looking back on Jay, what advice would you be giving yourself from 5 years ago?
5 years ago, fresh out of college.
Save more than you fuck off. Build strong business credit and buy your crib before you leave the house. Before you leave your job. Buy your first property before you leave the house.
Definitely that. Buy your first property before you leave. And then for me, I would say focus on getting paperwork together first. Focus on really learning the part of working on the business versus working in the business. Because that was one of the largest challenges for me. I grew up in this kind of country guy mindset, country boy mindset. I'm from the rural area. If you don't do it yourself, it ain't gonna get done right. But that's not the way to grow and scale a business. So breaking that mentality earlier rather than later. Like, understand that if you want to grow a profitable enterprise, you're gonna have to find a way to build relationships with people who can replace you and educate and teach them how to do exactly what it is that you want, instead of trying to fix the problem every time somebody drops the ball.
That's dope. All right, we're going to flip it back on you. Now we're going to make you 5 years older. Okay? What's the older version of yourself? What advice is he giving you today?
I say managing relationships is key. Managing expectations is key. And leveraging partnerships will be the best thing that you can do.
Love that.
This nigga be in my brain.
Hey.
Because I'll be saying the same thing.
That's that synergy, bro. We get it.
Another thing that I would say is don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so critical. Have fun whenever you can have fun. Because I know that's something that we hadn't done in the past 2 years. Like, it was just grind, and not a lot of fun. So have fun whenever you can. Enjoy yourself. And also just spend time with people who mean something to you.
I love it. I love it. Well, gentlemen, this has been beyond amazing. I want to give a big shout out to my partner, Ryan Mosley, for getting this set up. You guys, young in age, but wise beyond your youth.
Thank you. Appreciate
An
it.
amazing experience for both of us for the Vision Lab podcast. Salute to you both, gentlemen. Salute to you both.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Remember,
we in the lab with Cuff and Mo.
Let's go.
I love it.
Remember, visionaries, each one of our guests are jumping into the lab, dropping nuggets of wisdom. At the end of the day, folks, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guests, Jalen and David of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. As you heard, you can catch them every Wednesday at 8:30. And we will see you guys next week on another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
So.
Blessings.